Go with Carolyn, darling, she'll get you all ready, Mary whispered to the daintily dressed youngster, and gently pushed him toward the stairs. Once again, taking him by the hand, the maid seemed to treat him more as a 5-year-old than the teenager he was. Rushing up the stairs, pulling Chrissy behind her, the boy's skirts bounced and rustled while below, Mary smiled up at the frothy vision as it disappeared into the bedroom. Everything had gone according to plan. In just one day, they had transformed the boy into a gaily and exquisitely delicate little miss. And much to her delight, it was obvious in his eyes that he was beginning to love this new life. Carolyn closed the door and directed her charge to the satin-ruffled vanity bench. The boy plopped down, one leg bent back under him and looked back over his shoulder, the look in his eye as if waiting for her next instruction. My goodness. Christine. Is that how a young lady behaves? If that's the way you treat Susan's lovely dress, perhaps it's time to put you back into trousers. Startled, the boy didn't know what to think. Had she really offered to end all of this? And, more to the point, is this what he really wanted down deep? Reflecting on all the events of the previous 24 hours, it didn't take long for him to stand, and spreading his petticoats and skirt carefully, more gracefully took his seat again. I'm sorry, I'll be more careful, he whispered, his eyes downcast in shame. Yes, that's much better, sweetheart, answered Carolyn, a knowing smile crossing her lips. Sit here and I'll start your bath water, she said, turning and entering the adjacent bathroom. The boy's eyes followed her across the room, drawn to her long stockinged legs and the brief skirt of her maid's dress. As her hips swayed with each step, the youngster sat mesmerized. The sound of water splashing in the tub filled the room as Carolyn re-entered the bedroom and stood behind the seated boy. Lowering her head till her face was reflected in the mirror, framed by the pink ruffles highlighting the shoulders of the dress they had him wear, she wrapped her arms around him and gave him a squeeze. You look so precious, honey. You've made Mistress very happy. His carefully made-up eyes looked at her in the mirror, asking for explanation without a word. Madam misses her daughter so much since she left for college. Having you here dressed so prettily is just what the doctor ordered, I think, Carolyn responded. As the blush spread over his face, the maid began untying the satin ribbons from Chris' hair. Then, taking the silver hairbrush from the vanity, she started brushing the tangles gently. You don't know how happy it makes me to see Madam smiling again, she went on. I'm sure she'll really hate to see her little girl go once the weekend is over. The boy rested his head back against her wondrously fragrant bosom as she slowly moved the brush through his longish curls. Closing his eyes, he seemed to melt into her encompassing warmth. That's enough now, we have to move along, Carolyn roused him. Taking his hand, she brought him to his feet and removed the matching sash which circled the waist of the pink satin smock. As he stood before the mirror, she undid the buttons in the back and sliding the dress over his shoulders, let it fall to the floor. After placing it on a scented hanger, she returned and did the same with the bouffant slip. It collapsed into a mountain of froth around his knees, and, extending her hand for support, had him step gingerly from the lace cloud. No sooner had she returned from the large walk-in closet than he felt her hands at his hips, taking the frilled waistband of the silk and lace panties and drawing them down, careful not to snag the delicate fabric on the frilled tabs of his garter belt.